We're looking at July 8th, 2022. My name is Charlie Anteby. I'm here with the Charlie in the Morning Show. We've been picking some crazy topics, but we're going to keep picking crazy topics until we find some topics that aren't so crazy, maybe. And right now, the topic is the tragedy of life. That's what we got. It's after midnight, 12:17. We're doing the show now before I go to sleep, so I don't got to deal with it tomorrow. Tomorrow's Friday. Shabbat Shalom to everybody, by the way. When I say the tragedy of life, God forbid, we see some real tragedy of life. We see that kids go to school in Uvalde, Texas, and they don't come home. We see these kind of things going on. We see absolute tragedy. We see train crashes, bus crashes. We see truck crashes. We see plane crashes. We see war in Ukraine. But I'm not referring to that tragedy. I'm referring to a level of tragedy that is much more under the radar tragedy, that is not as clearly noticed, that is not as clearly noted. It just happens. It just happens. I noticed that in this community we come across a lot of unfortunate scandals. We come across situations where people have their reputations tarnished. People get divorces. People get broken off engagements. People have situations where they get caught in the act of committing homosexual actions and acts with each other. And there's always something going through the grapevine, and that really destroys. There's another one. It's unrequited love. Big one. Big one. The girl loves the guy. Stuff happens. I remember a situation. A woman went out with a guy. I was in touch with these people, and the guy was a train wreck. And it had to be 25 years later, and she seemed like she got her life back together in a normal way, and he seemed like he was on a path of destruction that started decades before and was just heading more and more in that direction. And it was revealed to me that she just spent the last 25 years not getting over her obsession with him. We know that 51% of households in the New York area are occupied by one person. That means 1 out of every 2 homes only have one person in it. Whether they're divorced, whether they're widowed, whether they're single, never married, whatever the case may be. More than half the homes are occupied by people who are living alone. That in its own right is a tragedy. I like to hope that they have friends, they have contact, they have people checking in on them, they have phone calls. In fact, and reviewing it in my mind, I know I came from a family background where there was a lot of people being alone. A lot of it. And it's really sad. And it just, when you try to wrap yourself around it and get your arms around it and see how sad it feels actually is, you start looking at people that are not alone and how sad that is. in some cases. How it's sadder to be with somebody and feeling alone than it is to be alone and feeling alone sometimes. How careers didn't work out as planned. How finances didn't work out as planned. I knew a guy who went berserk because he lent some money, a substantial amount of money, to some buddies of his buddies. He figured, no question, no problem. Of course, my buddies are going to give me back the money on the date that they promised to do so. And they didn't do so. And this goes back a while, and the man just went absolutely berserk. And then the negativity gave him cancer. And thank God he survived the cancer, but he didn't survive the insanity. And his marriage didn't survive the insanity. And I wouldn't be saying these things if it was pointing to one person. Hey, you're talking about me. No, I'm not talking about anybody. It happened 100 freaking times. People finally find happiness, and it's interrupted by premature death by one of the parties. People never get over that. Parents bury their own kids before the kids should bury the parents. And that's the tragedy in the category of tragedy. But I'm talking about tragedy that is on the other level. On the level of you just met the wrong person and it went terribly. And it put your life on a crash course. I remember when I was a young man and I had a lot of friends and they were girls. I hung out with a lot of beautiful women in the community, you know, the drop younger than me. And in one flurry, they got married. In one flurry. And some of those marriages I had some influence, introducing and meeting and shidduchim. And now look back. And now look back. And one by one. What happened on this one? I don't want to get into what happened on that one? And what happened on the other one? And what happened on the next one? And what happened on the... Life does not go in the manner that we hope it would go. We're not writing a fairy tale. We're not guaranteed any happy endings. And the funny thing is, it could be a little deceptive in the middle stages, in the early stages. You're on a roll, you're taking off. But go try and find a 40-year-old kid and explain to them. A 30-year-old kid, a 22-year-old good-looking girl who has 70 guys knocking on her door. Or a guy who has 4 girls chasing after him. And go try to explain that it may not be this good for so long. Forever. Try to explain where you know, people... I'm running out of words. Because I don't want to say anything. But I think I'm saying everything. And the bottom line is, where you find happiness, you take it, you grab it with all your might, you hold on to it, and you don't let it go. I don't care if it's with your dog who brings you happiness by running to the door when he hears you put the key in it every night and come home from work. I don't care if it's with your kids. A lot of times I used to hear, you don't get married for the wife, you get married for the kids. If that's the case, just hug the hell out of those kids as hard as you can and take the happiness that's coming to you. Because not everything produces happiness. And I'm saying it. I'm putting it out there. You can't plan life. You can't tell how it's going to go. I'm nearing 10 minutes. We're taking, thank God we got a couple of checks today. So we are taking, we're supported by viewers like you. Charlie Anteby, P.O. Box 100, Deal, New Jersey, 07723. It's Friday, the 8th of July, 2022, Shabbat Shalom. And again, if we get happiness any time at all, we get it in the summer on a weekend which is coming upon us. So let's try and do that. If we have our health, don't take it for granted. You have any love in your life, don't take it for granted. Okay? Thank you.